And tonight on our Great American panel, he's the deputy editor of the Wall Street Journal editorial page. Dan Hannity is back. She is a board member of Resurgent Republic. Republican strategist Leslie Sanchez is twittering as we speak. He served 3 terms on the DNC and was President Clinton's special counsel and special pleader extraordinaire. Fox News contributor Lanny Dave. Congratulations, you're a member of the family now.
A member of the Sean Hannity fan club, which all of your viewers know how much I like you.
I can't stand when you start out like this because you're so full of it. Everybody knows it.
His ratings just dropped 25%.
Right. Yeah. All right. Reverend Farrakhan, leader of the Nation of Islam, is going to be speaking at a Friday night town hall meeting, according to the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. He is going to appear along James Clyburn. Does James Clyburn belong hanging out with Louis Farrakhan?
I disagree with Mr. Farrakhan on almost everything, and I admire Mr. Clyburn, so I can't choose Mr. Clyburn's friend, so I don't know what their relationship is.
Why would he appear along with a known racist and anti-Semite?
You'll have to ask Mr. Clyburn. I know.
But you like James Clyburn. Listen, I think I don't have a problem with James Clyburn, but I think this is incredibly poor judgment. And I'm just what would be the difference if a Republican congressman hung out with a Klansman or some radical racist group?
Well, appearing with someone isn't hanging out. Why don't you have him on and ask him?
All right. Why are you ducking and defending your friend to the...
That's not the issue. The issue is ultimately the question. The difference would be the media firestorm that would come from that. It would be a firestorm across the media. What is the relation? What are they planning? What do you endorse what he's saying? What aspects do you endorse? It puts into question all those aspects, especially at a very difficult time.
Dan?
Well, having associations with people on stages is a difficult thing. Farrakhan is one of these odd figures. He occupies a strange place in our culture. He has the views you describe, and yet somehow they seem to transcend that and gain legitimacy in a way that allows them to operate.
I'm not saying he doesn't say good things when he talks about people being responsible, when he talks about people, taking care of your own family, your own community, living a moral life, not drinking, smoking, etc., doing drugs. I don't have a problem with any of that. It's the anti-Semitic Judaism, Zionist hatred that he has, hanging out with Gaddafi, America's enemies, and all the other stuff that he's said over the years, which I've chronicled often. Do you not agree he's a racist and anti-Semite?
I don't agree with him on almost everything.
You think he's a racist and anti-Semite? Was the question.
He makes racist and anti-Semitic comments, so I guess that makes.
So then, but Lanny, if you heard I was hanging out with a racist or anti-Semite, what would you say to me?
I don't know that he's hanging out, and that's your expression.
This is your first night as a contributor. I'm going to save you.
What does hanging out mean?
All right, NPR. Let's roll this tape of what they said, this guy Schiller, about the Tea Party movement.
The Republican Party is not really the Republican Party. It's been hijacked by this group that is
radical, racist, Islamophobic, Tea Party people.
And not just Islamophobic, but really xenophobic. I mean, basically, they believe in sort of white, middle America, gun-toting. I mean, it's pretty scary. They're seriously racist.
I'm letting you off the hook. Yes.
Well, there's a long pattern of this type of bias, no doubt, in public broadcasting. I think that fundamentally the question or the area that I like to focus on is now more than ever is government funding. In the 44 years, right? Defund them. In the 44 years since they started, there was scarcity in terms of this. Now a 5th grader can get on internet radio and pretty much you have vast communication.
Well, why don't they, at this point, I mean, they keep throwing people over the side because they claim that they violate their objective standards. And what Schiller said, it kind of, it just shatters. This is kind of what they really say in the NPR cafeteria, not the disinterested demeanor that they purport to have on their programs. I think at this point, they only get 12% of their funding from the federal government. They ought to pull the plug on themselves and go out and try to make an honest business out of it. They've got all these stations and all these people. Why not go into private broadcasting and try to compete with the rest of us rather than pretend that they are what they are? They're not that.
You have a problem with that?
I am a great NPR fan. To take one
You ought to be listening to me,
one
Rush and
person-
Levin, but go ahead.
One person, it was a completely repulsive statement
No,
that
it's
he
not
made.
one person.
But don't extrapolate or generalize just because
Nina
you saw
Totenberg
terrible
wished AIDS
signs,
on Jesse Helms and his
terrible signs at
grandchildren.
Tea Party rallies. I never extrapolated. I never said all Tea Partiers are because of.
All right.
This is what we're doing is
We gotta take a quick
extrapolating,
break.
and it's not fair.
All right, we're going to come back and we'll put Lanny back on the hot seat and make him sweat. He's sweating. We'll come back with our Great American Panel straight ahead. And we continue now with our Great American Panel. All right, so you heard the story of the BYU player who admitted they have this honor code. He was a basketball player, admitted that he had sex with his girlfriend and he's pulled off the team, et cetera. Northwestern University, they literally have 100 students at the school watching a naked woman as a sex toy is used on her by her boyfriend in the classroom. And the school defends them. Northwestern University faculty members engage in teaching and research on a variety of issues, et cetera. The university supports the efforts of faculty to further their advancement of knowledge. You think that's appropriate at a college?
Can we talk about the national debt and the budget deficit? And
No, why don't you
I
answer?
endorse Erskine Bowles and Senator Simpson. I don't think I'd want my child to attend that class, but I might be willing to tell him about it, and I would go in his place.
Yeah, what a pervert. What are you?
Do you know that I got him speechless for the first time in how many years on this show?
I think it shocked me.
Shocked is more of it. I'd blame that on tenure, quite honestly.
Yeah.
I think the guy showed poor judgment. That's what you want me
Well,
to
the
say.
St. Louis teacher loses a job after a student discovers she used to be a porn star, and I'm thinking, what?
Well, no, if you look at that, there's a lot of discrepancy. She used one name when she was in Kentucky. She used another name, under false pretense to get the current job, and then she still had another stage name, for her acting porn career.
Right.
Either way, there is a good quality teacher that lost that job to this individual. And then you see that she's still being compensated to the end of the year. That's undoubtedly because of a contract.
So does it matter what somebody does in their private life
She said she made the
if they
biggest
have, or if
mistake
they're
of her
teaching
life.
children?
There's-
What do you think, Dan?
She
I
lied
think
about who
if
she
you were a
was.
former porn star seeking a job as a public school teacher in Missouri is a stretch. I mean, that's just a little bit too far. You're not going to be able to do that. You may be able to work somewhere else, but don't expect to be able to teach students in Missouri.
But
She also-
it wasn't disclosed, though.
She said
That's
she
the
made
issue.
the biggest mistake of her life, and it happened years ago, and I don't see why she's being pounded if she expresses that she made a
She
mistake.
did not disclose, according to those
Well, of
reports,
course,
who she was, what her background was, so that people could have made a fair judgment and
course
made a
she did.
determination if she was right for that district. And then the question is, does the union continue to support her? Is that why she's continuing to be compensated through the end of the year? I mean, she earned this position under false pretenses in terms of name ID and history. I think that's a
But I
fair
think the
question.
local school board is entitled to make a decision like this if it wishes to, reflecting the community standards of the town in which she lived. If she wants to move to another place, like, say, Manhattan in New York, where they would be happy to have a former porn star teaching in the public schools, that's their business.
It might increase the 50% graduation rate, which is pretty pathetic in New York. All right, let me ask this. You want to talk about the debt?
I want to talk about the
220
Simpson
just wait a minute.
Erskine Bowles Commission. And
$223 billion for February alone in new debt by Obama. At the end of this fiscal year, he will have accumulated just under $5 trillion in new Obama debt. Now, here's my question. At the end of 2007, for the whole year, it was $161 billion. Do you think this is sustainable? Not only politically, let's talk about how it hurts the president politically.
Every Democrat and every Republican, from Ronald Reagan through Barack Obama, has responsibility for this happening. We fought 2 wars. My friend George Bush, who you know I am a great fan of as a person, used credit cards to pay for 2 wars. And you weren't on television pounding about how are you paying for these wars.
Lanny,
I agree with
George
you,
Bush
but
isn't
both
president.
parties are responsible.
Cut the crap. It's
not crap, that's a fact.
Listen, there has never been a president that has accumulated this debt in this short a period of time. Dan, the Wall Street Journal has chronicled this as well as anybody.
Yeah, and, the president's disapproval rating on the economy is 60%. I don't care what his personal approval rating is. People just hate the way he's handling the economy. And it's a mystery to me why he would then send up this really false budget with virtually no cuts. He's got spending up to 25% of GDP. Why does he think this is a winner for him? Why does he think he can fake his way through these realities?
Wesley?
Government overreaching. What's interesting there is independents, which is what everybody follows, realized about a year ago the president wasn't making the right kind of decisions to get the country moving in terms of private sector growth. And it was this big grab.
So Lanny's argument about comparing this to Bush, which was nowhere near what Obama is going to go nowhere, right?
I'm not blaming policies. The president owns his health care.
Let's be clear.
Bill Clinton just shifted. Obama's not out of time. We don't have time.
Let's just be clear here. I'm not blaming George Bush. I'm not blaming Obama. I'm blaming every Democrat and every Republican.
I'm blaming
using
Obama.
credit cards.
Greta's next. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow night.